Hello and welcome to Miracle English Language and Literature Institute. I'm Professor Abha Sharma, and today finally I am going to explain you the fifth part of Wasteland, which is written by the Nobel Prize winner and the greatest poet ever born in the 20th century, who was there in the 20th century, and that was T.S. Eliot. Yes, you have guessed it right, What the Thunder Said. So many people have been requesting, and due to some unseen reasons or say my busy schedule, I could not finish this part then. And also I was waiting for you people to go through all the previous videos of Wasteland. So today we are going to do What the Thunder Said. Now, as I've already told you that it is like an epic, compressed epic. It is written in epigrammatic style using lots of figures of speech and allusions from the past writers. So in this you will find allusions of Christ, his crucifixion, the journey to the chapel perilous, as I have already mentioned in my mythological background video, and also the Hindu fables from the Upanishads. Let's begin from the first few lines of this part. This part actually justifies whatever was written before by him. That means whatever he has mentioned in the first four parts, this part is like the conclusion to the whole. So, after the torchlight red and sweaty faces, after the frosty silence in the gardens, after the agony in stony places, the shouting and the crying, prison and palace and reverberation of thunder of spring over distant mountains, he who was now living is now dead. We who were living are now dying. With a little patience. These lines describe the trial and the crucifixion of Christ, and there was a frosty silence there. People had no sympathy, agony. They were going through the pain but could not express because of the terror of the Jews. So we were killing somebody who was supposed to live, who had come to this world to redeem us from the sins. And we killed the very prophet who was trying to save our lives. So it is in contrast. There is transferred epithet, frosty silence, stony places. That means nobody had that sympathy or could understand what they were doing. So it is said that the shouting and the crying, of course, of Mother of Christ, prison and palace and reverberation. It is said that Christ was taken into prison and then trialed and then crucified. So feather also participated in the agony. It became dark, thunderous, stormy, full of rain, full of lightning. That means it also reacted along with the killing of, or say, crucifixion of Christ. It is said that he was crucified at 9 o'clock. So 9 o'clock is also said as the dead hour. And people, they go in the offices at 9 o'clock and they get lost into their work until 6 in the evening. This we have done in the previous parts. So it's the same thing you can relate here. And then of thunder, of spring, over distant mountains, it was raining very heavily everywhere. He who was now living is now dead. We who were living are now dying. With a little patience. Actually, Christ did not die at that time. When he was crucified, no. His morals were understood. His teachings were understood later by the mankind, and the humanity sustained because of his teachings. But today, as we are facing the atmosphere of horror, terror, war, because this was written during the time of, say, after First World War, before the Second, but it was published in 1922. So he gives the agony, the frustration, the pain people suffered during the Great War, that is the First World War. So he says that he was living till date in our hearts. But now we have become so cruel, full of hatred, envy towards each other, that now we are dying with little patience. And if the death comes slowly, it is more painful. So now we have killed Christ in our heart. We are no more making him live in our hearts. That means he's dead and now we are dying. So actually he did not die at that time when he was crucified. He is dead today because of the dead times, because of the bad times when man has lost sympathy, pity, love towards each other. This part has many allusions: journey to Emmaus, Perilous Church, and resurrection of Christ. And the poet has mentioned two types of death, which one is spiritual darkness and the slow death, which is undignified and which we are facing, and the other one, which was dignified and at one stroke, that is Christ, and he was still living, yeah. Or we can say that he was in our hearts through his teachings, and we really believed him after his death. Let's take the next lines. Here is no water but only rock, rock and no water, and the sandy road, the road winding above among the mountains, which are mountains of rock without water. If there were water, we should stop and drink. Among the rock, one cannot stop and think. Sweat is dry, and feet are in the sand. If there were only water among the rock, dead mountain, mouth of curious teeth that cannot spit, here one can neither stand, nor lie, nor sit. Now, it says that this world, this life, has no water, no consolation, no peace. Water is signifying consolation, peace, survival, especially survival. Water is necessary for survival. And rock symbolizes the hard life, the harshness of life. This life is full of struggle, pain, misery, and our feet are over the very hot sand. That means we cannot stand firm. We are always shaking with pain and misery. There is no consolation, there is no support. And what have we done? We have killed Christ already. So we are left with nothing which can make us survive or help through this life. These mountains are advancing towards us with curious teeth, as if they are going to engulf us alive. So all these horrible or full of terror situations are making us go towards or shift towards death slowly. If we die suddenly, it is said to be a good death without any pain, but the gradual death is quite undignified, very painful. So what have we done? We have killed Christ and we have called our death, which is coming slowly with a little patience. Next he says that here one cannot stand, nor lie, nor sit. There is not even silence in the mountains, but dry, sterile thunder without rain. There is not even solitude in the mountains, but red sullen faces sneer and snarl from doors of mud-cracked houses. Again, it is a satire. It is an irony upon the modern life. We are so selfish, away from pity and sympathy, that we sneer and snarl. We try to kill each other. because you can take the example that Christ, who came to redeem us, he was killed. Even he was not spared. He was a very sober and simple man. So that means we people are so greedy, we kill each other, we destroy, we impart pain to each other just because of our greed and selfish nature. So same is there. So suppose this continues, this planet will be empty of human life very soon. So he calls the faces as sullen faces. Sullen means the faces do not have any kind of sympathy towards each other. They are gloomy, they are full of hatred. So all these are lines are narrating the present condition, the modern times, which T.S. Eliot and other men were facing after the First World War. So I would end this part here, and we would take it gradually. And coincidentally, today is Good Friday, and I have taken up this part which narrates the crucifixion of Christ. But of course, there is resurrection. Humanity will survive. Humanity will live forever. That we will see in the coming lines of the same part, What the Thunder Said. If you like this video, please like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you for your love and support. And you can join us for your UGC NET exam, which is coming in July. Thank you so much.